HMCS Haida is a tribal class destroyer that served in the Royal Canadian Navy from 1943 to 1963, participating in World War II and the Korean War. She was named after the Haida people. The Haida people are an indigenous group who have traditionally occupied Haida Gwaii, an archipelago just off the coast of British Columbia, Canada, for at least 12,500 years. They are also known for their craftsmanship, trading skills, and seamanship. The only surviving tribal class destroyer out of 27 vessels constructed for the Royal Canadian Navy, the Royal Navy, and the Royal Australian Navy between 1937 and 1945, Haida sank more enemy surface tonnage than any other Canadian warship, and as such is commonly referred to as the fightingest ship in the Royal Canadian Navy. Designated as a National Historic Site of Canada in 1984, she now serves as a museum ship berthed next to HMCS Star, an active Royal Canadian Navy Reserve Division in Hamilton, Ontario. In 2018, Haida was designated the ceremonial flagship of the Royal Canadian Navy. Haida, as one of the British-built tribal class destroyers, was 377 feet long overall, with a beam of 36 feet 6 inches and a draft of 13 feet. As built, the destroyer displaced 1,927 long tons standard and 2,745 long tons at deep load. Haida had a complement of 14 officers and 245 servicemen. The destroyer was propelled by two shafts driven by two Parsons geared turbines, powered by steam created by three Admiralty Type 3 drum boilers. This created 44,000 shaft horsepower and gave the ship a maximum speed of 36.5 knots. The destroyers could carry 505 to 516 long tons of fuel and oil. As built, Haida was fitted with 6 quick-firing 4.7-inch Mark 12 guns placed in 3 twin turrets designated A, B, and Y from bow to stern. The turrets were placed on 40-degree mountings with open back shields. The ship also had 1 twin turret of QF 4-inch Mark 16 guns in the X position. For secondary anti-aircraft armament, the destroyer was equipped with 4 single-mounted 2-pounder pom-pom guns. The vessel was also fitted with 4 21-inch torpedo tubes for Mark 9 torpedoes. Haida's keel was laid down by Vickers Armstrong Limited at their shipyard in Newcastle upon Tyne on the 29th of September 1941 with the yard number 41. The destroyer was launched on the 25th of August 1942 and commissioned into the Royal Canadian Navy service on the 30th of August 1943. She underwent workups under the first commanding officer H.G. de Wolf before reporting to the British Home Fleet at Scapa Flow in October 1943. On the 28th of November, Haida was among the destroyer escort for the Russian convoy RA-54B, protecting it until it reached Loch Ewe on the 9th of December without loss. Convoy JW-55B sailed from Loch Ewe for Russia on the 20th of December. Haida was a member of its ocean escort. The German battleship Scharnhorst was deployed to intercept the convoy. While the cruisers escorting the convoy kept the German vessel at bay, Haida and other escorting destroyers shepherded the convoy away from danger until the German battleship was sunk by a British force. On the 23rd of December, the convoy was attacked by Junkers Ju-88 bombers, but escaped unscathed. Haida joined the escort RA-55B on a return journey to the UK, which sailed from Kola Inlet on the 31st of December and arrived on the 8th of January 1944. On the 10th of January 1944, she was reassigned to the 10th Destroyer Flotilla at Plymouth and took part in the Operation Tunnel and Operation Hostile Sweeps in the Bay of Biscay and along the French coast of the English Channel. The 10th Flotilla, with the cruisers Black Prince, and Bellona formed Force 26. By April, Haida had sailed on 19 of the Operation Tunnel hostile missions. During the night of the 25th-26th of April, Haida, with Black Prince and the destroyers Ashanti, Athabascan, and Huron, engaged the German 4th Torpedo Boat Flotilla, comprising the German Elbing-class torpedo boats T-29, T-24, and T-27. Despite the German designation as torpedo boat, the Elbings were essentially on par with mid-sized Allied destroyers, having just slightly smaller armament. T-27 was hit early and retired to Moor Lakes. On the night of the 28th and 29th of April, T-24 and T-27 attempted to move from St. Malo to Brest and encountered the destroyers Athabascan and Haida off St. Brou, which were performing a covering sweep as part of Operation Hostile. Athabascan was torpedoed and sunk in the engagement. T-24 is credited with the sinking of that ship. Haida ran T-27 aground and set the vessel afire with shelling, to be later destroyed by NTB 673. Of the Athabascan's crew, 128 were lost, 44 survivors were recovered by Haida, and 83 survivors became prisoners of war of the Germans in France. Haida continued the Operation Hostile sorties in company of sister ship Huron during the weeks leading up to Operation Overlord. The 10th Destroyer Flotilla were part of the covering force for surface attacks at the western entrance of the English Channel during the invasion of Normandy. On the 8th and 9th of June, Haida was part of Task Force 26, which engaged the German 8th Destroyer Flotilla comprising Z-32, Z-24, ZH-1, and T-24, northwest of the Ile de Bas. Haida and Huron combined to sink Z-32 in the Battle of Ushant. Following the fall of Cherbourg to the Allies, the German E-boats were transferred to Le Havre, freeing up the 10th Flotilla. The flotilla was then given the dual role of covering Allied motor torpedo boat flotillas and search and sink missions against German shipping along the French coast. On the 24th of June, while on patrol in the English Channel off Land's End, Haida investigated a 311 Squadron's Liberator bomber dropping depth charges on a target. Haida and the British destroyer Eskimo began their own depth charge attacks, and being informed that a submarine had been spotted. After several attacks, the submarine surfaced and attempted to run. Haida and Eskimo fired all their guns and sank U-971. Haida rescued 6 survivors. On 14-15th of July 1944, Haida and ORP Bliskowicka intercepted a group of German ships in the Ile-de-Croix area near Lorient. The battle saw 2 submarine chasers, UJ-1420 and UJ-1421, destroyed. 1 German merchant ship sunk, and 2 others set afire. On the 5th and 6th of August, Haida was part of a force engaged in the Operation Kinetic Sweep. The force attacked a German convoy north of Ile-de-Rue and sank the minesweepers M263 and M486, the patrol boat V414, and the coastal launch Otto. During the battle, a shell exploded in one of Haida's turrets and started a fire, killing 2 and injuring 8, knocking the turret out of action. Staying in the line of battle, the destroyers were engaged by shore batteries when they attempted to take on a second convoy and were forced to withdraw without doing much damage to the German merchant vessels. Haida, Huron, and Iroquois left for Halifax on the 4th of June to refit as part of Canada's contribution to Operation Downfall. They arrived on the 10th of June and Haida started tropicalization refit. That was suspended after the surrender of Japan later that summer. Haida was paid off on 20th of March 1946. With the writing on the wall, Haida undertook her last assignment, a summer tour of the Great Lakes. She departed Halifax on the 25th of April 1963 with a mobile television studio on board. She undertook various public tours and weapons training during the tour. Our visit to HMCS Haida most certainly brought out a lot of emotion for both myself and my 2 sons. Walking her deck, it is impossible to not imagine yourself sailing the open ocean while her guns sang aloud as she sliced through the waves of the Atlantic Ocean while shells splashed all around her. I strongly recommend taking a visit to see her, docked in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Her staff are filled with knowledge and stories of her time spent at sea. It will be a visit that will stay with you for a lifetime. I truly hope you enjoyed this short video of this beautiful ship.